What would be the number one tip that you would give an agent coming into the world right now?
Starting off, depending on whether you're a scratch or I'll say on buying an existing book, you really, when you're going into it, you need to be all in.
Insurance dudes are on a mission to escape being handcuffed by our agencies.
How? By uncovering the secrets to creating a predictable, consistent, and profitable agency sales machine.
I am Craig Pretzinger.
I am Jason Feldman.
We are agents.
We are insurance dudes.
Right now, while it's fresh in your mind, check out live.teledudes.com.
We took our notes from over 100 interviews with top agents from around the country and made it into a live webcast.
Using these strategies led Craig and I to selling more than $10 million in premium in the last 2 years.
On this call, you'll receive the exact blueprint to get the same results.
Just go to live.teledudes.com to register for this upcoming Tuesday's live call with us.
If you jump on this call with us, we're certain 2022 will be an absolutely fantastic year for you.
See you there.
Chad alluded to on his call about, I think he has remote workers. I think he had one in Charlotte, North Carolina. I can't remember exact city, but that's the challenge for me is I have not, the ones I've had have been an utter failure. They haven't worked out, but I know there's an opportunity. I'm more engaged when they're actually in the office because I like that engagement there. Some people can work remotely, but you have to be disciplined to be a remote worker. I mean, I'll tell you flat out, I can't work at home. I mean, I have to be engaged in the office or in front of the customers. And I tell them that you can't just get up, put on your, wear your pajamas or t-shirt. I mean, you got to get up, get dressed, put on your slacks, shoes, button up, be professionally, have a setup to do. But I think you have to be, they're there. And I think we're becoming more, our world's going that way, but and to Chad's point, I think he mentioned that they try to have a lot of Zoom calls to feel like they're connected with that. So I kind of gained a little bit of knowledge from that on some of your shows that you've had. What can I do if I find someone that's, say a rock star as a remote worker, then it gives them the flexibility to be successful. To me, honestly, you should be the most successful one if you're a remote worker, because really you don't have to deal with walk-ins like we do. I mean, we like I said, we got 10 to 15 a day. So you don't have the interruptions other than the phone ringing. So, that's a challenge. I think for all of us in our industry now, you're seeing more and more of that on the remote side. And how do you deal with it? How do you actually incorporate that to making it a successful business for all of us? And because, people want to be included. And how do you do that in the best way, if they're not there actually in your office on a day in and day out basis? So that I think that's a challenge. I think that will evolve going forward, not just with us, but a lot of industry. I believe it'll be interesting to see how that plays out because, you have these large carriers and different corporations. They're going more remote, and is productivity there? Whether it's on the claim side or dealing with on customer service. So it'll be interesting as this evolves more and more to see how that plays out for all of us. Zoom is fantastic. I think, like we're doing now. I mean, you're in Arizona, you're in California, and I'm in little old South Carolina, and so we even got Zoom internet. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I mean,
yeah.
I think if anything, going through that experience, we had to bring our computer. We had to go remote for a long time here in California. And we just had to get good at it fast.
Yes.
The cool thing is that there's a ton of tools and now we had to learn them quickly. Like to your point, Zoom and stuff like that. I mean, most grandparents today know how to use Zoom,
Right.
3 years ago, that wasn't the case. So
it was not the case. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy the position we're in. There's definitely like to your point at the beginning of the conversation, people tend to go towards the negative a little bit more. I mean, but there's also this whole other thing that we're not talking about, which is all the positive stuff, which is like the remote tools and all these things that we got kind of forced to do, but has made our lives a little bit easier. Like
Yes.
I'm not in the office as much, and I never
Right.
will be again. I think a lot of
Right.
like half of our
Mhm.
staff works from home, and I
Yeah, I remember. I
like,
think I remember you talking about that. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I'll never go
Jason would
to-
never talk about it, but
Yeah.
that March of 2020, when everybody had to go home, his agency did over 250K.
That's amazing.
And I
Wow.
think there
Wow.
weren't many agencies that did that.
Wow.
There weren't many agencies
Yeah.
that put in more telemarketers and more leads and just went all in than what he was doing. So I
Yeah.
just want to tip my hat because I know that he wouldn't ever talk about that.
Yeah.
No, well, no, but that's a testament to what you guys, what you have done on the process. It's all about process. I
Yeah.
think that's the key to any agency or any business that you run is the process you put in. All of them trying to get better at that, from learning from you guys, learning from others on your podcast, learning from good friends of mine within the industry that do this on a day in and day out basis. And, and to your point on going back to on the positive side, one of the things that I think that really helped me is based on going through the challenges of last year and towards the end of 2020, you see, and then anything within the industry itself, if you go on Facebook or you go on different links, they have all these different posts you can, these sites you can go on. The negativity was off the charts. And I said, I refuse to go down that road because there's negative in everything. So I'm going to feed myself on the positivity, because if I can do that, I'm going to help get my mind in the right frame of mind and that'll enhance me and also help make my staff better, because if you look for the negative, you're going to find it just like that.
Yep.
But there's so much positive in what we do, so much things that we can do to help folks out there in the business, because I love what I do because I'm able to help others. And whether it's just talking them through that, or they call up, some of them are crying, and just helping them through whatever they may be dealing with at that point in their life, whether they're, we're going to get plenty of negative phone calls, but the ones we have that are positive, the customers that appreciate what you do. And that's why I love what I do every day and coming in. And because, as I tell my staff, we're problem solvers.
That's it.
That's what we do, and so we try to be that go-to source. And, I want them calling me, not just on insurance, but any little, where they really build that trust is when they're calling you, asking about just on investments or cars, or, should I buy this car? You have that trust factor with your customers. And if you can do that, you're winning. You're winning every day. So, So, and I think,
you mentioned referrals earlier, and you've been talking about process. So I'd love to know, what is your process for referrals? How are you tracking and measuring and succeeding with those?
Yeah. So on the referral aspect of it, we go into the call itself when, say, James is in there quoting an individual. And by the way, when we're going through that, I always tell them, look, we're most likely not going to be the cheapest one out there. And anyone can always find someone cheaper. We're going to educate first. We always educate. We make them understand the importance of why they have this type of coverage and the importance of bundling to potentially lower your overall rate as a whole. But we're educating, and that's how they build the trust. And James he's the nicest, most pushiest guy you'd ever meet. He's got a knack for it. And so the goal at the end of the day, he has a little sheet he marks off and says, hey, at the end of every call, make sure you ask for the referral. Hey, since you, hopefully I've done a good job for you, and I hope you're satisfied with what I've told you. We're here to help you be involved. Since you had such a great experience, would you mind sharing another individual's name and number that I could reach out to, since I was able to help you guys out? Love to speak with them to see if I can help them out. It's pretty simple. It's really, it's not rocket science, as we all know, but it's just, don't forget to ask. And so that's one of the aspects there we try to hone in on, and we mark it on one of our platforms. We need to keep up with, how the sales and the dinger, we marks on their referrals. So we know how that's going. We can keep track of referrals and things like that. So are we perfect at it? No, but it's just, we have meetings every week to remind each other of the good things we've done, the things we could have done better, and always learning. I mean, we always said, if you're not learning, you're not growing. If you're not growing, then you're going to be dying. And so that's the bottom line there. So yeah, referrals are a key, but we try to really dive in, because those leads that we have, I said, we got around 12,000. I mean, I paid for those.
Right.
That's a lot. That's a lot of money. So work 7 to 10 times over the course of 2 weeks, and then we don't get rid of them. Then we go back to them later. And so that's probably one area that we've been successful. We hit our numbers where we need to go, but to listening to you guys last week on the call, really see the importance of really driving, being more efficient in opportunities to sell, to work with folks on the phone. And if we can do that, we're going to grow even more exponentially. And that way, as I told them, we're growing. I continue to hire, and we hire another service to really have you guys focus just on sales. And that's always my goal, is really to enhance where they focus on sales, service focuses on service. And then I'm here to, I guess, sometimes referee. So,
Right.
Yeah. So,
Bryan, besides listening to this podcast, how else do you keep yourself motivated?
So, man, well, let's see.
Is there anything else?
I mean, well, I like a little bourbon at night. That always keeps you motivated.
There you go. What kind?
Well, I like Basil Hayden, a little, Buffalo Trace, Jameson. The simple. I'm not at Chad Kish level. I'm not at top shelf level yet. But one day I'll get there. But no, I do that. I like to, I like to talk to keep myself motivated. Listen to podcasts like you guys. Try to be a part of. Go to mentors that I speak with, other agency owners, other business leaders too. What are they doing? Because you can gain so much knowledge from that. Being in my past working in athletics for so many years, listen to a lot of coaches. And at Clemson, we've got Dabo Sweeney won 2 national championships. I know some of the coaches there. Some of them play when I was working. That's how, I'm old now, but I try to gain knowledge from whether it's the coaches to the business leaders to podcast and my wife, she has to keep me motivated too, because it's so funny. She I remember it was about 2 months ago. She says, "Do you like what you're doing?" I said, "Yeah, I really do." She said, "God, you always seem to so stressed." I said, I know, weirdly enough, I am very stressed, but I just love what I do. It's just a different, and you guys can probably relate to it when you have that, because you go to bed thinking about your business per se, and then you wake up thinking about it. And especially when you got now a little less, but a million reasons why you got to focus and drive your business to grow and pay debt and to enjoy the fruits of your labor later. And but I think if you keep it in perspective and knowing you do the little things every day, then it will pay off. And so not to say, there's challenges, there's months where you're like, man, goodness, what have I done? But I've always met my goals, and I've had good people around me. And I think for me is probably being a little bit more aggressive on the leads sales side. I think going out there to truly, if it's done properly, you can exponentially grow even that much greater and grow your wealth by investing in your business on leads, especially in this industry here. And so that's been a really positive thing to me to look at and see what other agents do. There's another great agent. We were in a training class, and you need to get her on the program. She's fantastic. Joanne Hartman in Texas. She's out of her agency out of the Justin, Texas area, and she actually worked for the owner, and then she bought one of her agencies, and she's a rock star. Gaining knowledge from her and those people like herself of what she does and just how she relates to the clients and how she can just really get to the point and just close the sale. She's amazing. From people like her and others from all over the country, because every geography is a little different, but you can gain so much knowledge in other areas too. from, and sometimes you got to keep things in perspective too. I mean, when you're looking at a smaller area, your numbers are a lot less, but some of your most successful agents are maybe some of your smaller little towns and stuff that have really grown their book of business. Some of the other agents, super agents, you got a metro area of a few million people, like she does out in Fort Worth, Dallas area. But it's how I always tell my staff. I mean, I got another independent agent right across the street from me, a great guy, and I got two others. I mean, less than a mile. But we're our only competition. End of the day, we got to do our work. We got to put in the calls. We got to take care of the customers, and we can't worry about what others are doing. So if we focus on what we're doing, and like you guys always talk on your processes and getting those correct and embedded, then the sky's the limit. Because that if you worry about what other people are doing, oh man, we can't compete, or our rates are going up or theirs are going down. And it's like, you know what? We're still going to win because somebody else says they're always going to be successful. You have to figure out what you're dealt with and figure out how to get around it and make success out of it. And if you can do that and stay positive and look at the positive versus the negative, what you can't do, what can we do? I mean, let's figure out what can we do and let's do what we can do. And do it the 100%. Right way. Do it ethically and correctly. Do it the right way. We're going to lose customers like everyone else does. But we always say, I talk to them sometimes. I may have lost you now, but I'm going to get you back in the Taylor family here before long.
Nice.
And a lot of them, there's like, call me back later. Some of it, it's understood.
Bryan, when you said 2 months and your wife in the same sentence, I thought you were going to go a totally different direction.
Oh, yeah.
Because then we would have had something in serious common there.
Oh, yes. No, I better clarify.
Speaking of challenges.
Yes.
It is
challenges. Yes. After going on 27 years of marriage, I mean, it's
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
In May, she's still there. I don't know how, but yeah. I guess, I don't know. I guess I pay her well. Not.
So let's go into the future a little bit. We talked about a little bit of challenges, but what are some of the changes you see affecting our agencies in the next couple of years?
Yeah. Of course, hit on that one regarding remote workers. I think that's a big one. I think that's something that really kind of need to keep an eye on. And how people manage it. I think, as I mentioned, Chad, seems like he's got a good handle. I actually need to reach out to him and talk to him. There's another agent in the Greenville area as well that's been pretty successful, trying to figure out, how you delved into that. But, I really think the evolution of where they're, the push, especially in our industry of having that aspect of the remote workers is probably the biggest change. And also, right now, with inflation and how we're dealing with that as a society as a whole, everything's going up and the challenges there. That's probably more short-term problems. Hopefully that's going to change for the better later. But I think, and also with finding, staff retention. I mean, it's just hard to retain staff in any industry. You hear about it all the time. So that's the number two biggest thing I think is how can you create an environment where they want to come in every day, they want to be here, and how you deal with differences especially in the age bracket I see of younger generation to my age in my 50s and the older ones, when you're dealing with their perception is different on how they view work life. I just work all the time. I mean, when I was in athletics, they almost shamed you if you went home, you didn't put in 12 hours, it's just
right.
Now it's like they expect to have that time off per se. They expect to and get paid for what they should get paid. So that's a challenge, I think. And I think our workforce is going to be it's a big deal in how we motivate, retain, and compensate staff. That and remote workers, I think that's going to be a challenge. And maybe that's kind of a combination of both there. Maybe that's where maybe the solution kind of lies in between. you know?
So what do you see, or what would be the number one tip that you would give an agent coming into the world right now?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
The number one thing, like the number one piece of advice that you would give to an agent starting off.
Oh yeah. So I would, starting off, you know, depending on whether you're a scratch or I'll say on buying an existing book, you really, when you're going into it, you need to be all in. I mean, you need to be all in. That's what you know you're going to be, what you want to do, because failure is not an option here. Okay. I mean, you have to go in that mindset that you will succeed. You will not fail. Understand your numbers on the agency. Understand that. And if you don't understand, there's a lot of things I'm still learning on different things. Get that advice. Get those from your peers. They're more than happy to walk you through that. But probably the number one thing is, man, you got to have the right staff. You will succeed or fail with the staff you have in place. And if you can get that right, man, your life's going to be a lot easier, a whole lot easier.
I think that's huge advice.
Yes.
Your people are your biggest asset.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah,
Bryan,
absolutely.
I want to acknowledge you for coming into the industry at a crazy time and succeeding, pushing through, and constantly growing and pushing yourself. So that's incredible. So just want to say, you know, you're doing an awesome job, and we love talking to insurance dudes out there that are trying to have you know, it is a world of kind of negativity sometimes, but you have a very positive outlook and you're pushing ahead, and we love it. So
well, no, I appreciate you guys having me on. I mean, obviously you had a lot of super successful agents. I said, man, they must be hurting for entertainment. Man, they got me on the program, but they're not. I don't know, but you know, I think, but it's good. I think it's good to hear from all sides, all levels of kind of where people are in their career.
100%.
It's an awesome opportunity, and if you do it the right way, you're going to be successful. And you can't judge one person's success not necessarily over their billfold, but it's their quality. Are they doing the right things? You always need to grow. You always got to grow, but how you work that is important to that each individual. And that's success for me. Is those and to help others in the community. And if I do that, we'll have a good life.
Yep.
So
I 100% agree.
Have a good life. So
love it.
Yep.
Yeah,
appreciate
Bryan.
you guys. Yeah.
Bryan,
Thank you, Bryan.
you went the distance. Thank you for jumping on.
Yeah.
And,
I hope you can understand me here. You know, may have to call a decoder out there or something.
No, I love it.
Or a translator, I should say.
Really good, crystal clear mic too. So,
well,
we're gonna wrap it. We're up against the wall here, but you went the distance.
Well, I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah,
and look forward to catching your other podcast, and I'll make sure nobody hears mine. I'm kidding. No, but it's been good. It's been fun. It really
awesome.
has. So.
Yeah. Thanks, Bryan. Take care.
Thank you, Bryan.
Y'all be good. Okay. Talk to you soon.
You too.
Hey, what are you still doing here?
Well, while you're still here and while it's fresh in your mind, check out live.teledudes.com.
Yeah, if you weren't listening before, we took notes from over 100 interviews with top agents from around the country and made it into a live webcast.
Using these strategies did help Craig and I write over $10 million in premium in the last couple years.
And let me tell you, on this call, you'll receive the exact blueprint to get the very same results.
Again, that's live.teledudes.com to register for this upcoming Tuesday's live call with us.
And if you jump on with us, we are certain 2022 will be an absolutely fantastic year for you.
See you there.